Thank you for participating tonight. We will now begin with an opening statement from Coach Shondell and then go to questions. Use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. When you are called on for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Coach, please give us a brief opening statement and then we will go to questions.
Thank you. First of all, if you're on the call, appreciate what you do for the sport of volleyball. It's the fastest growing sport in America because we're finally getting some exposure for a great sport. So thank you for being here. This was a tough night for our team. We knew that we were in for a real challenge. We know Kentucky well enough, and we know some of the new blood that's come into that program and some improvements that they have made with some veteran players. And they were more than we could handle tonight. It's just that simple. They were outstanding. Congratulations to Craig Skinner, who's been a friend of mine for a long, long time. Carly Kramer, who was one of our Purdue players, who is one of the assistant coaches. To go to the Final Four for the first time, it must be an amazing feeling. And certainly was what our team had set their goal upon from the very beginning, was to try to accomplish that same thing. But we were not able to play at a level high enough to get that done. I thought the first set and a half defensively we were doing about all we could do against a team that's just a juggernaut. I think Washington will play them next, and Washington's going to have a challenge against this team because not do they have an arsenal of great arms. They've got a defensive outfit that just doesn't let the ball hit the floor very easily. It's a great combination. And then maybe the best setter in the country, certainly one of the top three. And you put all those things together, it makes for a tough chore to beat a team like that. And they're playing really, really well at the right time. So hope that wasn't too much, but I'll answer questions.
Thank you. Now we go to questions from the media. Our first question is from Sam King, so please unmute yourself and ask your question.
I have a two-part question. Dave, first of all, the first set, you're up, I think, 17-12. How pivotal was it that you needed to get that first set to have some momentum going into the second set and to kind of just, obviously against a team like this, you can't let a 5-point lead late in the set get away.
Yeah, and that came down to really good serving by them, and they're a good serving team. As I mentioned, I thought, to answer your question, yeah, when you're playing a team that has a little more talent than you do, as it appeared that they did as the match developed. And again, we're playing a team that we've never even seen live play. So you're watching them on tape all this time, and it's a little bit different when you face them, nose to nose. But yeah, it would have been great to win the first one. We didn't try to give it away. We had a nice lead. I thought a few things were going our way. They made some uncharacteristic hitting errors in that first set that allowed us to be in a position. We played really good defense. We had some people take some pretty good chops at the ball to get us in that spot. But then, they kind of narrowed their focus a little bit and made it difficult for us. So yeah, you always want to win the first one. It puts you a little bit at ease, but it didn't happen.
The second part is for this team to get this far. I know you lose two very pivotal pieces of this team, but by and large, your team's a pretty young team. How big was this season, was this run for this group where a lot of these girls are coming back next year?
Well, I don't think you can replace the experience that they had. Number one, the battle of going through this year. What Craig Skinner told me after the match was that he was kind of trying to be nice. He's a real gentleman, if you know Craig. That everybody was a champion that made it through this season because of what these players dealt with, and this is just again the challenge that it was to deal with COVID and be restricted to what you could do. But I kind of lost track of what your question. Oh yeah, but there's no doubt that this experience of coming to the NCAA championship and playing 3 matches after getting the first round bye is great experience. We extended our season by another probably 20 days, I'm guessing. I kind of lost count once we got here. But we had more practice time. We had opportunities to prepare and learn a few things about how to play great competition. And unfortunately, we had a tough match tonight. And I'm not saying that we were awful. We weren't very good, but that usually has a lot to do with who you're playing. And Kentucky was lights out tonight.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Sam, really appreciate it.
If there's any more questions, please use the raise hand function. And I see JD, you're good to ask a question now. if you want to unmute yourself.
Yes, can you hear me?
Gotcha, JD.
Hey, Coach, this is, the first appearance for a lot of your freshmen. Taylor Trammell kind of really stepped up tonight. What did you see throughout the entire tournament from your younger class, and what do you think this experience prepares them for during their volleyball journey?
Well, I thought Taylor played really well tonight, especially after about the first 15 points. I thought she was a little tentative in the first 15 points, and then she just started to play. She's a Lexington native, and so I think that she wanted to play well against Kentucky and a lot of the players that I'm sure she knows through club that have gathered there at the University of Kentucky. But I think it's been great for her. She's going to be a star in this sport as she gets better and her arm even gets stronger and she develops. We had plenty of sophomores that got a lot of time, and I know Sam mentioned that we'll lose two. We don't know if we're going to lose two or not. We haven't even talked to our two seniors about whether or not they're going to stay or go. This is a good nucleus. We've got some talent that you didn't see tonight. We had players that didn't play to their level tonight. There's no doubt about that. And sometimes when players want to win so badly and they want to do something that is significant for the program, they apply a little bit of unnecessary pressure on themselves. And sometimes that prevents them from playing at the level that they're capable of. But I don't fault anybody for that. I love this team. It's just a great group of people. And I think that, we'll continue to improve as a program.
Final question from me. Tim Newton asked this in a press conference right at the beginning of the tournament, but people are going to look back on this year and kind of remember it as the COVID year. What are you specifically going to take away from the 2021 season as your memory? What are you going to look back on as a real summary of this year?
I think, JD, all of the people that we heard from throughout the season that fell in love with our team. And, those who watched tonight may not have the same affection necessarily because it was just a tough match. But this is a team that plays hard. They're kind of like Kentucky. Kentucky just plays great defense. They play hard. Western Kentucky was the same kind of team. But our fans, if they weren't big supporters of our program. We had a bunch of them that became that way, and all throughout the NCAA tournament, we were just getting bombarded with people that wishing us the best and can't wait to get back into our Holloway gym next year to watch us play. So I think that, not that our program was in trouble. We went to the Sweet 16 last year with a great group, but I think there's certainly been a newfound affection for our volleyball team because of the character and the way this team plays.
Thanks for everything all season.
Thank you, JD.
Thank you, Coach Shondell, for your time tonight.
Okay, we done?
Yep.
Thank you.
Next, we'll be joined by Taylor Trammell here in a couple of seconds. Please use this time to raise or lower your hand as necessary. All right, our first question will be from Sam King. So, Sam, you can unmute yourself now and ask the question.
Taylor, I know this is a tough end, but this has been a remarkable freshman year for you. And a lot of these girls are coming back. Maybe all these girls are coming back next year. How big was this season to get through this? There's a lot of teams in the Big Ten that didn't have very many matches. And secondly, to just get the experience of going to an Elite Eight, playing a team like Kentucky, and knowing we're going to carry this into the fall and be that much better because of this.
Yeah, something Dave always says is every game in the Big Ten is going to be a hard game. There's nobody that ever lets up, and it's always just who's going to push harder, and we did that this season. And the girls that were on the team, and you're just surrounding yourself with this type of energy that's always go hard type of mentality. They never gave up, and I think that's the reason why we had the season we had. They pushed me, and I pushed them. And for us getting this far in the tournament was kind of crazy for me, especially as a freshman. I never, ever thought that the first year you get jumped into the Elite Eight. Usually that's something most teams have to work for their whole entire career. And it's crazy just to be this far, and I'm just so grateful. And I'm still really excited about what we have in the future.
What was it like for you going against Kentucky, which I'm sure you're familiar with Kentucky, and they probably know who you are?
Yeah, I know Coach Skinner. It's been really fun. It was a game that I was really looking forward to, and Kentucky's my home base, and I just knew everyone from home was watching, and it was going to be a big deal, and I wanted to make them proud, and I think I did that even though we lost the game. But I just know that if we ever play them again, it's going to be on.
How much did this team bond over the course of this year where it really was, kind of forced on you because of the situation that we're going through? But I think Purdue, more than a lot of teams, made the most of the opportunity to, hey, let's bond, let's get close, and I think you can see that carry over onto the court.
Yeah, because it was a COVID year, it was really hard, I know, for everyone around the world, trying to play volleyball with their team. But something about us is we got pretty lucky this year. We didn't have any COVID cases spiking, and we were able to play majority of our matches this season, which a lot of teams didn't do. And I think, being on and off the court with your team that many times, it's what really, prevailed us and what really got us, I got a connection with Haley that I probably never would have had if I would have missed, 6 games or 5 games just because of COVID. So that's something I'm so grateful about, and we took really good care about the situation, and we had to wear a mask in practice and just follow all type of protocols, but it was definitely worth it.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
Our final question will be from JD Arlen. If you still have questions, you can unmute yourself now and ask those.
I'm all good. Thanks. Congratulations, Taylor.
Thank you.
All right, Taylor, you're good to go tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Good job. Nice job.